For this lesson, go ahead and open up in your exercise files a document called rasterize.ai, and let's play. We have two things on the screen. We have a cat, and we have a lady with a newspaper under her arm. Both of these shapes are fairly complex. Now remember what complexity means. Complexity means the amount of anchor points. The anchor points hold math. The math tells how to draw the shape when you print it. So the printer has to be a mathematician here in terms of what it does. But that gives us resolution independence. Doesn't matter what we do, how big we make it, it will always look good when we output it. So that's the ultimate advantage of vector. So why would you ever want to convert something into Photoshop Raster Paint? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, what if you're going out to a website and you want to convert the cat into maybe a GIF? Because the internet doesn't support on web pages Adobe Illustrator documents. Now you could try an SVG, or you could maybe put it through Flash or something like that, but you don't want to do that. It'll look fine. That would be one reason why you would want to rasterize it. But there's another one that's really kind of important here. You can create shapes that are so complex with the math that they're almost impossible to print or put on a 4-color press. A 4-color press has a memory area in it, and all the math goes into the memory as it lays the job out for the plates. And basically, if it is too complicated, it'll lock the press up. Now that's getting more and more rare because presses, like anything else, are getting more memory, but it can happen. And if you lock up a press on an operator, I suggest you stay away for a while because they're not going to be very happy with you. And they'll probably catch the problem anyway. But why not solve it now? If we go up to the word View on the pull-down menu, go down to Outline, you can see all the outlines on these shapes. And to be honest with you, they're really not that complicated. I don't think a press would have any problem with either of these. But let's go back into Preview and talk about rasterization. Before you rasterize it, kind of get it the way you want it to be. And let's say that girl is too complicated, or we want to put her on a website, or whatever we're doing, we need to rasterize. So let's select her. Now she's in a group, so everything becomes selected. Go to the word Effect on the pull-down menu and go down to Rasterize. Now your options are number one, color mode. We're in RGB, so it's RGB grayscale or bitmap. If you were in CMYK, you'd see that option up there too. Here's your resolution. Where are we going with this? You're going out to a web, you're going out to a regular printer, and you want to uncomplicate it because it's taking too long to print, or you're going high like to a press, or the option Document Raster Effects Resolution. Now, let me show you this. Let's get out here for a second. Earlier in another lesson in this chapter, we went up to the word Effects and went into Document Raster Effects Settings. That's what it's asking. Do you want to use those? So if you change those, you can use them or you can override them. Let's go back to Rasterize. Let's say on this one we're going out to screen, so we'll leave it at 72. There are very few times I would ever want white as a background, so I'm going to leave that at transparent. Your anti-aliasing can be art optimized, or it can be type optimized. We'll say art optimized. That looks pretty good. Don't need the clipping mask, but I do want a little bit of an area around her. 36 pixels is default. That's fine. Click OK. You say, well, what did it do? It still looks vector to me. And Andy, I've used rasterize in earlier versions of Illustrator, and it actually does convert it into a photo right then, right there. I love this. It's not rasterized until you save it and output it. I can still go back into her. I can still work on her as a vector, yet the computer knows what I want to do when I output it. Now we can do the same thing over here. Look at how sharp everything is. I mean, let's go ahead and do this too. Let's make him a little bit bigger on the screen. Yeah, it's all nice and sharp. Look at her now. She's still vector though. See, that's non-destructive editing. If we take this guy and go ahead and select the whole thing, he's in a group too. Let's go up real quick and go Effect and go into Rasterize. We'll leave everything alone, leave it at 72 and click OK. Now see how he's changed? You're looking at him the way he would look if you had him blown up to 200%, which you wouldn't do. And you can begin to see the pixelization. But if I double click, say, on that eye right there, and that takes me into isolation mode, remember? As you can see, I can work on that piece as if it's vector. And it will still compensate for it as if it's vector. It won't further rasterize the image, and I still have control. So rasterization in Adobe Illustrator has taken a leap forward. You have the ability to rasterize, but still work in vector. I call that the best of both worlds. On to the next.